welcome to the SpeedWorks Motorsport Championship. If you just joined us on our live stream via YouTube, great to have you with us as we get set to go racing. This is the third round of the SpeedWorks Motorsport Championship. It is the second round of the Castrol Toyota Racing Series. And of course, we've had challenging conditions here at Teretonga with a wet practice and a qualifying day so far today, but conditions just starting to dry out a little bit this afternoon as the rain has set in, but just hopefully stopped for the racing this afternoon. So joining us, we have John Crawford from the team at Motorsport Solutions out of Christchurch as we get set to go racing for the first race on our live stream, which is the always fantastic New Zealand Formula 1600 Championship. How are you, John? Well, as they say, just wait 1 minute and it'll change again, won't it? So what's happened with the, in the practice session this morning, a lot of red flags, a lot of stoppages, a lot of cars, and Roger and I were just talking about if you were driving a white Ford 1600, it was a bad news because they were all off the track. Just check your microphone there.
Testing.
Keep going.
Yeah, hello. Testing. Yeah. So there was a rule change applied earlier in the year, and now if you create a red flag in either a practice or a qualifying, you have to take a three-place penalty. So that makes quite a big difference. The powers that be have obviously made that call, and that's affected the positions of quite a few of the drivers. In fact, probably all of the lead drivers had a little off in the last day and a half, and so we've got James Penrose had to go back 3, Joshua had to go back 3, a couple of the other drivers had to go back more than that.
Well, Roger and I were just talking about that during the qualifying, because sometimes you may go off, but you may not have caused it. So you may end up in the gravel trap, and that's the red flag. But what say if you didn't actually cause the incident?
Well, there's no differentiating between that. And the interesting thing here is, and I don't know the reason why, but James got 2 penalties. But he is actually only 3 back, so I don't quite know what they've done there.
Red lights are on, waiting for the red lights to go out. They're out. We are racing at Teretonga.
Oh, no, not a good start for
the American.
Spike. No, that was a bad one, considering he had such a great start last week.
So that's number 50, a.k.a. Luke Kohlbecker. His racing name is Spike, out of America. He was on the front row of the grid and just bombed it down.
Yeah. So, not sure what
really spinner around the sweeper for the first time, and one of the boy cars has just done a big pirouette and ended up on the grass and is still going. There we go.
Grant Campbell still moving, that's good. It's good. And Jordan Mickles out in the lead there. This was going to probably settle down. The track's probably going to dry a little bit with James and Joshua chasing him down. So it'd be interesting to see if he can make a break on it, or whether they're going to be able to chase him down.
So what was the reaction to the drivers after the stop-start sort of qualifying session with all the cars going off?
Probably just a bit of disappointment, really, and unfortunately that in a qualifying session the red is mandated for any.
So coming down to complete the first lap, Jordan Mickles, 23, one of the local Southland boys, should be the man to set the pace as they come across the start-finish line. 7 to go. 98, James Penrose. He was very fast this morning. 32, Josh Bethune after that win at the Lady Wigram last weekend. So there's your top 3. Callum Crawley out of Fielding, 79. Then Kohlbeck has sort of recovered. But look at the top 3 as they sweep around the loop.
There's nothing in that. There's meters between them. And there's Callum's having to go around the outside there.
So as they go through Castrol, it's Mickles, Penrose, Bethune, Crawley.
Yep, so Luke's back up to 4th and Crawley's 5th and Zach Stitchbury 5th at the moment.
Isn't it good to have Zach Stitchbury racing?
It's fantastic actually, and we've got a spinner there. That shouldn't affect the race too much.
So a spinner coming out of Castrol going into the start of the Macaulay S's. In fact, they've done a double spin, one of the white cars. Perhaps Roger was right.
Yeah, it's pretty slippery out there, and but it is quietly drying, so it'll be interesting to see how quick they get through that.
Yes, we're just talking about number 72. That's Zach Stitchbury, son of the late Ashley Stitchbury.
Absolutely correct, and he's only done 3 races now in Formula Ford, so just getting his head around it all, and be very interesting to see just how all that's going to play out. He actually was quite a lot quicker than his qualifying time in the qualifying, but every lap that he did a quick one, it was red flagged. So
around the southern loop as they sweep into the start of lap 2, and Penrose having a good look around the outside of Mickles, and he's going to make it stick. Oh, that's great racing in the wet.
Absolutely.
Terrific pass at Teretonga. Hasn't taken long, only a couple of laps in, and already these little young stars and these very open wheel cars turning it on. Like we've seen in the past, the likes of Liam Lawson, the likes of Callum Hedge, who are back here in different classes, like the TRS and also the 86s.
Absolutely, and I mean, I think you can see how close these 1600s are, and I mean, it is the breeding ground for these guys to go forward into other classes. So.
Well, we just looked at that, the roll of honour. Scott Dixon, you know, 5-time IndyCar champion, Craig Beard, Fabian Coulthard, Richie Stanaway, Shane Van Gisbergen, Andre Heimgartner, Andy McElroy, and the guys that haven't won championships, Brendan Hartley, Mitch Evans, Earl Bamber.
Absolutely, and a bit of a challenge going on here from Josh through up in front of Nickel.
And I think they all learn about racing room and racecraft in these cars, don't they?
Well, there's no room for error with it. Those wheels stick out a fair way, and it looks like Josh is going to take second place up into the loop here if he can make that stick.
So Josh Berthune, in great performance last week in Wigram.
Fantastic, and Josh just really starting to feel more and more confident with his car, and as a racing driver, he's just really starting to mature.
And he's been one of those drivers sort of knocking on the door for a couple of years, like runner-up in the various championships.
Yeah, absolutely. He's won the South Island Championship once to start with, and now we've got a bit of a challenge coming from Spike here. So they've put Mickles in his place there, and I see the safety car just going out now. So what's that about? So
we've just got a safety car in one part of the circuit. We'll just try and work out exactly where that is. Is it down by the elbow? I'm not sure. Is anything around the sweeper?
Yellow.
Looks clear. Might be around the back part of the track. There's a car over there.
Okay.
So that's up by the GWD elbow, I think. One of the cars has gone probably straight ahead of the brickyard, and looks like it's gone off.
Full course yellow.
So this will give them all a chance to regroup and cool down. Who's that? Oh, it looks like he's hit the wall quite bad, is he?
Yeah, no, it's broken. Yep.
That wheel looks munted.
Definitely broken. That's young Evans.
Jack Noble Adams?
No, that's
Black?
young Evans.
Blake Evans.
Blake. No, not Blake.
21. No. Kyle Girton, dark green.
That's him. Yep.
Out of Australia.
92 Van Diemen, or 91 Van Diemen. That's actually a very successful car. That ex-Kinsman, various other leading competitors.
So what do you tell the drivers when you get like 4 laps in, halfway through, 4 to go, and they start to regroup, because now it'll give them a chance to get that drafting and slipstreaming. Do we have the conditions for that today?
A little. I mean, you're still hard on the throttle coming down the straight, so I mean, it will make a big difference. The big one here is the restart, and they've got to get right up behind the guy in front of them and make sure they know what's going on.
Don't let the leader get away.
Don't let the leader get away. But I mean, this is such a good learning class. I mean, only 2 of the cars have got radios in them at the moment, and those guys will be getting some information from their team, but essentially the rest of the young guys, they've got to read what's going on themselves, and that's part of that learning process. And we don't normally run radios in our cars, and that's what this class is about, is to make sure these guys can actually read what's going on
and
themselves.
race by instinct.
Well, it's experience, isn't it? That's what they're trying to do. So nice to see Simon Spencer Bow there in about 8th place.
We were just talking about that this morning in qualifying with Roger, the 70-year-old Wanaka helicopter pilot.
Absolutely, yeah, he's a good friend of mine. And
is it true he only started last year?
That's correct. Yeah, last year. Yep.
Why?
Because he can.
And he's young enough to start.
Well, he and I started talking about it for a while. He's had a passion for car racing since he was a boy.
Great.
And it's only in this last wee while the opportunities come up for him to do some stuff. He did some stuff a long time ago with us at the racing school, and just the right car came along and the right opportunities come along. So he's out there enjoying it, and he's got his whole family here supporting him today. So it's great to see.
72. There's Zach Sixbury there. How'd you get a lot of the cars out of the garages? A lot of cars like a big field. We've got 21, so it's good to get the cars racing.
The fantastic part about all this is that 1600 has been really rejuvenated by the South Island Formula Ford Club. And I take my head off really to those guys. They've put an awful amount of effort into getting these cars out. We had 28 cars on the grid at Ruapuna last week.
Great.
28 cars, yeah, hasn't been like that for a long, long time. And we're actually talking about modern cars too. There's a couple of brand new cars in the field at the moment. And I mean, the great part about Formula Ford is that it's a world championship, worldwide championship, and it is the breeding ground for these young guys.
So the safety car is back in the track, and the breeding ground's about to go racing again. And you're right too, because we're talking about the Colbeckers. They've got the 1600cc Honda engine.
They did drive that in Canada. I mean, this is a really good example of how competitive it is in New Zealand. Colbeckers were Spike was running in the top 2 or 3 in Canada. I mean, it's a good, strong championship, and here he is, competitive here, right round the outside of those guys.
Bold move, bold move. Oh, contact with the 2 leaders, and Penrose is into the wall.
Oh, no.
Colbecker just couldn't quite nail it on cold tyres.
That was a really good call, but didn't make it stick, and that's a
car on the wall. This could end under safety car.
This will probably.
So we'll always expect the unexpected about it, and the wet around the outside at Teretonga.
Yeah, stealing one of the quotes, expect the unexpected, because you'd never know.
Well, normally we save that for boxing, because you never know what happens in that sport. But there's a classic example of
what's going on here today.
Take a look at the replay. Oh, just a touch with Penrose.
Actually, I don't think that was Spike's fault.
No.
He was clearly on the outside, and it clearly looked like James had slipped. I mean, he was possibly he clearly didn't do it on purpose, but he slipped into Spike. So that's the way it looks.
So it looked like just lack of grip from him.
Yeah.
Around that outside. Just have a look. Oh, he may have just been moving over a bit.
I mean, Spike was clearly there. He could see him, but he just slipped into him. So that's a real shame for them. I mean, that's a father and son team. It's a very low budget arrangement, and they're very competitive, obviously. And once again, you can be the biggest budget team in the world in Formula Ford, and you can be a father and son situation, and you can be competitive, and that's the love of it. That's what people love about Formula Ford.
So just to tell us a bit about the Colbeckers. They've come all the way from America.
Yeah, from St. Louis.
And they were really looking forward to seeing their young son Luke, and aka Spike, go racing. So they'll be feeling a bit
they'll be a bit down about
gutted,
that now.
Yeah.
But that is what they're here for. They're here to learn, and they've been clear about that right from the beginning. They don't get an opportunity to race in such close succession where they're from, and they're clearly here to learn how to Spike to build his experience up. That's really what they're here for. And his mum and dad are here, and they've been just working away quietly at it, and we're away testing in the North Island next week, and more mileage they can get and the more experience they'll get, the better it'll be.
Well, it's great for the championship when you think you've got 21 cars, you've got a 70-year-old giving it a crack, you've got a kid coming all the way from America, an Australian, we've got Aussies racing in other classes.
Father and son teams doing it at the front of the field, and then other people doing it in the middle of the field. And I mean, this is the epitome of what Formula Ford's about.
Checkered flag time, and it's Josh Berthune. Look at that, number 32. The luck just rolls on for him.
Well,
from Wigram last weekend, the Lady Wigram Trophy race at Ruapuna. 2 cars take themselves out, and he goes, thank you very much.
Well, you make your own luck, Clint. That's the old thing. So,
and Jordan Mickles had been passed by a couple of other guys from Southland. He gets up there, and Callum Crawley in 79 will come home and round up the top 3. And Zach Stitchbury in 4th.
Yeah. So, I mean, the mixes it all up. We've got Simon Spencer-Bauer in 7th place now. So that's 2 top 10s for him now. So he's pretty happy about that. And there's some other guys coming along through, young Dominic Robertson and Andy Downs and those guys. These guys are all guys that do it with their dads or in their sheds by themselves, and they're running relatively modern cars, and but they're running it on wages, you know.
Okay, now look, we're just getting this car off the wall, which is a sad situation for James Penrose, who was going really well, currently 2nd in the championship. So the damage there, is that for the weekend? Can they rebuild that car overnight? What will happen?
Between Tom and Motorsport Solutions, we'll have enough bits to fix that. And Tom possibly hasn't got all of the bits, but I'm sure that I know that we bought enough bits to fix that. So we'll help them with that and get them back out on the grid, I'm sure.
So Trish is calling. Should we say? Did you see that?
Yeah,
yes, I did actually.
Yeah. So no, look, good result for Josh and some of the other guys. Jordan deserved that. He used his head, obviously. And just a shame that there's a couple of damaged cars.
And what about Spike's car?
It doesn't look particularly badly damaged. Might be a wishbone or something, but I think the biggest problem with that will be filling up the vacuum cleaner a few times.
And then the learning curve is what?
Well,
what's the lesson?
The learning curve there is to just be sure you've got the room. Now he clearly didn't have much option in that. That was probably not his fault, really. So.
All right, we'll let you go and answer the phone, mate, and go back and repair those 2 cars. Thanks very much for coming up and joining us. That's John Crawford from Motorsport Solutions, and I think everyone's calling up to say, right, I've got a couple of cars to fix, John.
Might have to get my hands dirty again today. All right, thanks for that. Bye. And,
of course, they'll be back for another race coming up later on this afternoon, and that is time to go at 4:30, and we'll see if those 2 drivers, Luke, a.k.a. Spike Colbecker, can get back on track, and also James Penrose, and get back up to that front of the field. So there you go. Expect the unexpected when we go motor racing at Teretonga. Slippery when it's wet, especially coming around the big sweeper. Will we see that again later on today? Next up, stand by. It's the South Island Mazda Pro 7 Series.
It's good to express your feelings. Thanks.
What have you been doing this season, and how's it gone?
Yeah, so this year I did Euro Formula Open F3. So it's sort of like a Spanish F3 conglomerate of a few different national championships, and it races on some really cool tracks like Spa, Monza, and a bunch of other Formula One circuits. So It's been really good track knowledge I've gained from this championship, and it's gone really well. I finished 5th in the championship. I did TRS this year in 2018, and it was a great experience. I mean, it wasn't something I had planned for, and it was just kind of a last-minute thing. But I'm so glad I did it because, especially from a racecraft perspective, I improved tremendously, and that was immediately recognizable in the first races of Euro Formula this year. I mean, there's a big jump in racecraft. And I think because the TRS is done all in 5 weeks, 15 races, and it's sort of non-stop back-to-back racing, you know, you don't have time to forget about things. Especially, you know, when you're working with the same drivers, you kind of learn how their habits are, and you learn to read drivers much quicker. So I'm looking forward to doing that again. But this time I know the tracks, I know the car, so I can really focus on doing the little nitty-gritty, you know, little hundredths of a second here and there.
And will you be with the same team in terms of setup and engineer?
No, actually, I'll be racing with M2 competition this year.
Okay, and now, of course, that, for those who don't know, M2 competition, probably the most successful team in the 15-year history of the Toyota Racing Series. So a really interesting choice there, and you are going, without a doubt, to win it, aren't you?
That's the plan this year, yeah. Yeah.
Toyota Signature Class vehicles all come with 3 years factory warranty as standard. Hey Ottawa, where do you think you'll be 3 years from now?
Now that I'm on telly, probably Hollywood.
So the field coming out onto the track now for the first race in the series for the South Island Mazda Pro 7 Series. Roger is back, and also joining us we've got Tom Cochran straight out of the pits and all the way from the farm at Waimate, who's going to join us for the inside word on the field of 10 races this weekend for the Mazda RX-7s. And Tom, what have they been doing in between qualifying and racing to keep warm, because it is, you know, wet and cold out there?
Well, straight after racing, the ladies in the pits put us together a few bacon egg semis, and they went down pretty well, followed by a couple of games of backyard baseball.
All right, so the guys just trying to keep warm, keep moving,
keep warm,
not stiffing up,
keep everyone moving, just keep morale high. It's pretty easy to lose morale in the wet, easy to catch a cold. So if we stay warm and keep moving, then just keep winning, really. So the track conditions on the Toyo tyres, so you all have what sort of a dot rated type sort of dry wet tyre? That's both? Well, the tyres for the wet are just new tyres, and then we've got worn tyres for dry weather, so it's pretty good. My buddy Flynn and the White Horse Motors RX7 is running his only pair of tyres, so they're sort of wet dries. Okay, so the field lining up is going to be 1 NZ Sam Wallace, followed by 7 Ben Tiplady, then 24 James Askew, 43 Braden Phillips, 14 Chris Mackey, 13 Flynn Mitchell, 50 Simon Askin, 6 Simon Wheeler, 8 Paul Wallace, that's Sam's father, and 48 Wayne Elliott, the local man from Invercargill. The oldest dog in the race team. And it's going to be an interesting race here. Good times this morning in the practice sessions. A lot's happened since then. And it's all about getting off to a good start. And we've already seen one start blow it because of the inside line there and just couldn't get the wheel traction. Ben will be looking for a good start here. He started well in Cromwell. There's the man number 14. That's Chris Mackey. Is that the Rude Green? No, that's Chris Mackey. The Rude Green is the head of propagators with the black bonnet coming up there. Oh, number 13. He must be rolling into grid number 6. Yeah, P6, so it's number 13. So I see what you mean. It's sort of dark with... Yeah, I don't know if it's the original colour of the car, but that's what he's chosen. 43 in the camouflage. Watch out for him. That's Braden Phillips. You reckon he could be one of the more aggressive drivers in the field as we get set to go racing with the South Island Pro 7 Series. Red lights are on. They're out. Who gets off to a good start? 43, Braden Phillips is off to a slow start. Little bit of a contact with 13 as Flying Flynn gets off to a ripper, mate. That is beautiful from Flynn. And you said number 7, Ben Tiplady. That's twice now. The outside P2 spot has got to the corner first. So P1 may not be the preferred starting spot if you're on pole here today in the wet at Teretonga. He'll be running pretty confident, Ben. He was getting some good catches during the baseball. So obviously paying dividends in the racing as well. So round the outside of the sweeper. Drama there in the last race with the Formula 1600s, but so far the mighty Mazdas. Oh, hang on to a Braden Phillips coming out of Castrol sideways, but not the right side of the track for the Macaulay S's. He's back on there now, Roger. How would you feel?
Loose as a goose.
Nervous.
It's the great level of the rain, isn't it?
Yep, your mate Flynn's right up there. He's doing well.
Oh, he's born in the wet, you know, and he just likes to push it.
So coming down towards the GWD elbow from the backside of the circuit, 43, Braden Phillips bogged it down, got it sideways, slippy. He's had a real interesting first lap, but it's Ben 10, Ben 7. He's got the lead, and it's about 1/8 of a second. Sam Wallace second, Flying Flynn Mitchell. Whatever you've done to the car, mate, you've tweaked them.
Well, we just had a good couple of bacon egg semis. I don't think we've had to touch the car much between qualifying. We've been pretty happy with it. Last event down here, we spent a bit of time mucking around with the car with diffs and gearboxes, but it must just be the weather.
So at the moment, it's Ben Tiplady coming under pressure now from the champ, the 18-year-old Sam Wallace out of Christchurch. He's had a look down the inside as they sneak through and roll through Castrol, and they just flow straight into the Macaulay S's. Beautiful part of the track, but this is where it's been really slippery around this corner here. There's a few puddles to contend with. That dry line's a lot better, but you'll just see as they fatten out, head down towards the hairpin. It can be very greasy and slippy around there. Now they're going to head up towards the brickyard.
Oh, Ben will be just trying to make his car as wide as he can and hold Sam back, won't he?
This is the passing opportunity there. They can sometimes try and duck right down the inside, but you've got to be really good on the brakes. But at the moment, Ben Tiplady's doing a A good job. He's got those tyres hooked up. And now Sam Wallace, look, drafting, doing the slipstream. Almost a shake and bake.
Almost a shake and bake. Let's see if he'll hang on the corner here.
Now it's a dead set drag race down the long straight. 1K at Teretonga. Sam Wallace shows why he's number one. Gets it done as they fly into the sweeper.
Nice. There was Sam's obviously doing his old man proud with the Paul Wallace European Autobahn Auto Gas RX-7.
Currently leads the championship, won it last year, the defending champ, and it hasn't taken him long. That rain, Roger, is that getting worse now, the rain settling in?
Definitely got a lot heavier. Yep, a lot heavier.
So there's a real battle pack developing with your mate Flynn here, Flynn Mitchell, James Askew, Braden Phillips and Chris Mackey. You got 13, 24, 43 and 14.
Well, there's a move. Flynn might have just...
Oh, James Askew.
Too wide through the S's.
Hold on to it, Flynn.
Now they're going to go down towards the brickyard. Braden Phillips, you said he's bold. He's a young teenager out of Christchurch. No fear.
No fear.
Any common sense? Any car sense?
Well, he's got strong elbows, you know.
So literally muscling that horse around. Too wide coming on the start of the main straight.
Even Jimmy's pushing his way in there, pretty strong.
Sam Wallace, 122.2. Out by 1.5 seconds now. It's a three-way scrap for third. Great racing in the wet. Teretonga down the straight. Hold on to it, Lund. Hold on to it, son.
James and Flynn actually are running the same engines built by TMC, TMR, Tailor-Made Rotaries. So there shouldn't be much difference in them down the straight, but James just seems to have a little bit more pep at the end.
Perhaps it's also in the boldness and the confidence of the driver behind the wheel to just keep it charging as they slide out of the sweeper.
He's not short of confidence, Jimmy.
I think you've got to back yourself in these conditions, but it's good racing, giving each other a bit of room here. Braden having a look down the inside of Castro. Decides just button off and let Flynn stay in there. A little bit twitchy for James Askew as they charge towards through the S's now.
Holding on. We've even got Big Wall back there. And where is he sitting?
Paul
Seventh place, yeah.
Number 8.
We call him Big Wall and Sam's Little Wall.
So it's Little Wall at the moment.
Little Wall's in first place.
He's got quite a big lead over Ben Tiplady. Of course, in the championship, it's Braden Phillips, who's currently third. Askew, Wallace, Flynn Mitchell, Ben Tiplady.
What have we got? Oh, Tiplady's off track.
He's tipped it. Whoa, he just overcooked.
Oh,
what was that coming down?
GWD.
GWD by the elbow. He forgot to turn. So now he's
going to be kicking
back.
himself for that.
But that's good news for James Askew. He grabs second spot. Then, of course, flying Flynn and Braden Phillips. Here they are, 2 by 2 into the sweeper, in the rain, in Teretonga, Invercargill. He's going to keep it in the corner. Oh, synchronised tap. They both held on. Oh, twitchy, nervous.
Almost the best class of motorsport, the Pro 7 class.
Oh, one of them spin around.
Who have we lost? Have we lost
Askew, oh, there's another one all coming out of the sweeper. We've got cars left, right and centre. Big smash. Oh, that's unfortunate for 14 Flynn Mitchell because he came round and the other guys had lost it. Askew had just spun it wide coming out of the sweeper. One of the other guys took evasive action into the kitty litter and Flynn had nowhere to go.
He's seriously, well...
Flynn's car's had a good spill.
Oh, number 14, not looking good. Chris Mackey.
Here comes the safety car.
Is that 14 Chris Mackey, not Flynn?
14, and there's Flynn. Oh, Flynn's number 13. And he's
off?
Yeah, and he's off, and he looked like he took some damage to his front left wheel as well.
Oh, so 14 Chris Mackey. He's got serious damage there, so that's brought out the safety car. 2 races, 2 safety cars.
We might be busy after this race.
Have a look at the replay. Let's take a look. This is where it all went wrong in the sweeper. Oh, so 20.
Oh no.
So Askew had spun around. Poor old Flynn had nowhere to go. So this is where the drama is. So Askew's in front. He's already lost control around the sweeper. There he is there. Flynn takes evasive action. Bang!
Oh, spun around the back.
And then Chris had nowhere to go. Oh, Chris Mackey.
That's three seriously wounded cars, isn't it?
That's unfortunate, isn't it? Well, that's what makes it so exciting out in the rain there, doesn't it? Wouldn't be exciting if it was safe.
Well, they've certainly made safe as they can be with the safety features in motorsport these days, but on a slippery, wet track like today here at Teretonga, if you're joining us live streaming via the YouTube and SpeedWorks, great to have you with us. Great to have you with us trackside, but great to have a lot of work for the poor, unfortunate race teams in the Pro 7s from the South Island.
And the marshals out that corner are getting a bit of work today, aren't they?
Yeah, the recovery crews are going to be doing a fantastic job as they line up behind the safety crew. Yeah, look, they're laughing about it. You got to keep your sense of humour.
Oh yeah, well we'll get back out there on the cricket pitch and we'll just whack the emotions away, you know.
So we've had 5 laps out of 8, and I think for the second time we may finish under the safety car. It's going to take a bit of while to get those two Mazdas out of the grass and onto the truck there. Roger, what do you reckon?
Yeah, and the other one that sort of limped away, but it had a bit of mortal damage as well, didn't it?
Old number 24, James Askew.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sort of had a renovated side on it.
And just keep an eye, that's the second race, the same spot coming out of the sweeper, where they've just got it slippy and sideways. Slideways, that's a good word actually, sideways.
Well.
We just coined a new phrase there, Tom.
All right, lock it in.
Checkered flag.
Checkered flag's out. Well, James will be calling his mate at JP Fab to help fix him up, won't he?
So there we go. 2 races up, 2 safety cars, 2 crashes coming out of the sweeper. And I think a few more cars may be moving down that way, parking up by that corner.
It's an unfortunate end to the race, but great for spectating, isn't it?
That's what I'd be parking the car up, taking the motorhome down there. So well done to number 1, Sam Wallace, kept it away from all the drama.
So who
43, Braden Phillips ended up getting up for second, and Ben Tiplady after starting on that front row.
And running off the track, pulled a podium out of it.
Got onto the grass and he gets onto the podium. And Paul, big wall.
Big wall in 4th.
Knocking on the... And Wayne Elliott from Invercargill, number 48, he gets up for a top 5 finish. And then, of course, Simon Askin, the president, in 7th. Simon Wheeler in 6th, and car number 6. 48, Wayne Elliott, 5. 8, Paul Wallace, 4th. Ben Tiplady, 7th. Place on the podium. Braden Phillips, 43, 2nd. And Sam Wallace, the 18-year-old young gun out of Christchurch, hoping to make his way into the 86s and follow in the footsteps of some other Mazda drivers moving up through the pathway created here by the SpeedWorks Motorsport Championship. So that's the action. Good on you, Tom. All the way from the farm at Waimate.
Cheers, mate. It's been great to be up here, and I suppose I'll see you tomorrow.
Well, no, you're going to... yeah, you will see us tomorrow because I think
First
it's the Formula
morning,
Fords have got some work. Well, you can give us an update on all the...
Well, do you want me to bring you guys up a couple of bacon egg sandwiches tomorrow morning? They're pretty well built.
A feet of the old Cheerios, mate.
Barbecue or tomato sauce.
Exactly. Barbecue.
All right. Too easy. Cheers, guys. I better get back to the race team.
There's our farmer in the fast lane. Old Tom, terrific Tom here at Teretonga. Fantastic.
Cheers, Tom.
But I tell you what, Roger, we're going to have to keep an eye on that dead set sweeper. That's the second race. And 2 cars twice now have gone into the kitty litter out of that sweeper, isn't it?
And the person going around the outside is almost the one that's getting away with it.
But you said that there is grip around that outside part of the sweeper.
In the middle of it.
Yeah, in the middle. Not on the exit. Not on the exit where you leave it, because that's where you leave the track. So stick around. Next up, we'll be counting down to 15 laps and the very exciting Toyota 86 Championship as we continue the racing here. Terrific stuff at Teretonga in the wet. The SpeedWorks Motorsport Championship. Don't forget, we're counting down to the Castrol Toyota Racing Series race 1 of the weekend over 20 laps. That's time to go at 3:30. And in between them, we'll have the South Island Porsche Series as well, followed by the B&T V8 still to come. Back with the Formula 1600s later on and a SpeedWorks Rush Hour 2 to finish the day. we certainly hope you're enjoying the action trackside here with the SpeedWorks Motorsport Championship. And if you're also live streaming via the YouTube, don't forget the SpeedWorks app is up and running again with all the details you need to know about round 3 of the championship. Of course, it's also the 4th round of the Toyota 86s. Jeff Short, promoter from SpeedWorks, is back with us, and of course runs the 86 championship. 2 races down, 2 red flags, 2 crashes coming out of the sweeper. Can the 86 boys show us how it's done? Jeff?
Look, absolutely. My boys are going to turn it on out there, I'm sure.
So what would your driver coaches be telling the team as they leave and get lined up on the grid?
Yeah, look, I think...
keep it on the white lines? Keep it in between the white lines?
No, not nowhere near the white lines. The white lines are the slippery lines, so that's...
Stay away from the white lines.
That's certainly the one. I think the guys that'll be out for the championship are certainly going to be obviously very cautious and make sure that they're collecting points. That's the main aim of the game, but they're all out there to race and go and win races, so I'm sure it'll be all on this first corner.
Well, we played some good music in between with White Lines. That's a good motor racing song, but also the song Broken for all the race teams that have to fix those broken cars. Hopefully we won't have any more. But long way to go. 3rd race of the afternoon. SpeedWorks Motorsport Championship, round 3, Teretonga in the wet. What a challenge. Are the 86ers up for it? On the front row of the grid, Jaden Ransley out of Christchurch. Car number 53 alongside him, 23, Jordan Baldwin from Auckland. Then it's Justin Allen, the big flyer out of Fielding, the big improver. Brock Gilchrist, what a great performance by number 10 in the Nexus car. And then it's Callum Hedge, the series leader from P5, Jacob Cranston, young driver out of Palmerston North in P6. Then Vidanovic had a great round last weekend at Highlands, followed by Crichton, Adam, Nato, Stewart, Davison, Wright, Jackson, Mitchus. 15 cars, Toyota 86, red lights are on, ready to go racing. Good start. 23, Jordan Baldwin nails Ransley from the get-go. 31, charging through Jacob Cranston.
Yeah, great start from Jacob. Obviously in the wet, it's a matter of not getting wheel spin.
So getting that grip as they flow into the sweeper. We'll take a good look as they get in, but it's all about how they come out, because around about here is where all the drama's been so far at Teretonga. Right here, right now, this surface water, a few puddles, but they're safely through with the headlights on, the racing lights are on, the red lights are on, the rain lights are on. So round through Castrol.
Yeah, Callum being squeezed back there. Callum Hedge, unfortunately, lost a few spots.
So 15 laps, so it gives them a chance to sort of get themselves dialed up and into it for the start, settle down, and then the big finish. And hopefully stay out of trouble as one of them gets onto the grass. Oh, did he pull it up? Just going down towards what the hairpin in the brickyard. Oh no, no, we've got drama. Is that Mitch Hughes?
Mitch Hughes and Connor Davison, unfortunately.
83 and 95, so it was a different part of the circuit, but once again, that surface water is causing problems.
Connor's managed to get himself going again, but unfortunately Mitch has gone into the wall.
So the recovery crews could be back out on the track very soon. The flashing lights are on the safety car, and here we go. We just managed to finish 1 lap. So it's Jordan Baldwin, Jaden Ransley, Jacob Cranston, so the Triple Js. 4 Js, actually, Justin Allen. So you got Jordan, Jaden, Jacob, and Justin. That's the way they'll reline up.
Can you say that backwards, Clint?
Justin, Jacob, Jaden, and Jordan. And they're all in 86s. Oh, man. I thought we were going to get through a clean lap. I thought we were going to do it. But it was just that one car sliding into, what was that, the hairpin round there? That flow, and then obviously just T-boned poor old Mitch. Yeah.
No, the back wheel's looking a bit bent on that car, unfortunately.
So as the SpeedWorks promoter, also you run the 86s, you take a deep breath now, and what do you do? What are you thinking? What's going through the brain?
Oh, look, it's just really disappointing for the teams that are involved with the cars, that they're going to have to try and stitch them back together. Unfortunately, Mitch had his first wee incident at Highlands and put it into the wall, and he's been a bit gun-shy since then. He's done a fantastic job. He's come from nowhere, ridden a bit of motorbikes. His dad, obviously, Lance Hughes, races in the V8 class, and Mitch came out and did an outstanding job at his very first event in supercars. Was up in the top 6 at one stage in qualifying. So certainly started well, but I know he's been certainly nervous of.
And when you get young guys coming through and they have a couple of prangs, they start to lose their confidence. How difficult is it to sort of say, well, keep going, try this, try that, try to keep them up?
Yeah, look, it is hard, and certainly the guys that they know their parents are paying for it, and it's expensive when you have those sorts of incidents. So yeah, it's a difficult one.
But I suppose he can then have a chat with Lance's dad, who was a motor racer. From a motor racing point of view, sometimes those things are out of your control, aren't they?
Yeah, the first one at Highlands, unfortunately, he made a mistake and got it wrong and slid into the wall. But I know Lance said he'd be doing a bit of overtime for a fair few months. But yeah, that's the hard part, is to get yourself back up and put yourself in the gear, because he was basically right there with everybody else. No, he's taken a little bit of time just to sort of get a handle on the circuit.
And then it can be frustrating when you go to another circuit and then all of a sudden, bang, you're involved in another incident, but it may not have been your fault and you get taken out, but you still got to pay the bill. Absolutely. Sorry, that's when you're an innocent party there, it's always difficult. So it's going to be one of those sort of days. Great spectator points. We're loving it here in Teretonga, aren't we? Look at that. Hey, all set up. Top of the bus, the back side of the track, prepared for the rain.
Yeah, well, that's the part we love about Invercargill. The people are here no matter what. They come out rain, hail and shine. I remember racing here a number of years ago, and I was the only one on the grid when a big hailstorm came through, and I saw Mum and Dad and a couple of kids standing there just enjoying being there. And Roger, it's been good to see the crowd starting to build despite the weather throughout the day.
Yes, it is. It's a good crowd, considering, you know, it's a wet Saturday and Sunday is normally the day when you get all the people here. So, yeah, there's plenty of action though. Plenty of action. So we've got the course car down the back there. The medical crews are making sure the drivers are okay, which is good. The recovery crews are busy trying to get those cars. And of course, after every race, you have to rebuild parts of the wall for the safety wall and that sort of jazz. Have they done much with the tyres around here? Are they still fairly heavy, or they lighten them up a bit? No, the tyres are still filled with sand, but in areas there's a row or 2 rows of buffer tyres to absorb the shock before you actually get to the sand-filled wall. So we've got the St John's ambulance going out to the drivers now to make sure hopefully they're okay. I think one of them's got a sore back. I'm not surprised. You can see him just limping, but that would be... That's Mitch. Yeah, a big disappointment for young Mitch. But it's better to be safe than sorry. Make sure that he's okay, and that's all part of the medical crews and the safety crews with Motorsport New Zealand. So now they just parked them up on the grid. We've had 2 laps. We've got 13 to go. Will this be time certain? It could be. There's certainly enough time for the 86 guys with being a championship class. They generally try and run to duration if we can. Otherwise, you just make the rush hour a half hour. Yeah, the guys are still keen to run the whole hour, so it's going to be interesting to see. Good. We had a safety car in that race last weekend, so it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen. So I suppose the predictions that the weather would get worse this afternoon, just starting to cause a few headaches for the drivers, because it is a seriously slippery track, a lot of surface water, and it's not just in one part of the track now we've discovered. Certainly the sweep has been twice involved, coming out of the sweep and now around the back side of the track. I'm thinking it's getting difficult for some of those flag marshals out there as well. Yes, our hats go out to all of the volunteers, the flag marshals, all the crews around the track in the rain. We're very lucky up here in the tower. Yes, you'll notice that all our flag marshal stands now have roofs over them. You need that for the sun too. Yeah. You know, not just the rain, but also for the sun. I'm just looking at the young lady down there with the red flag trying to shelter from it. Oh, she's going to start waving it shortly. But she's connected. She knows exactly what's going on. How many recovery crews, the Purdues and stuff, have you got down here, mate? There's 2 of the high-ab trucks. I believe 2, there may be 3. But
You've got to say the recovery guys, I mean, and ladies all had their big meeting down here and they took a team photograph, and they do a great job too, because it's not easy, because you're all under time constraint to try and get it done as quickly as you can.
Oh, well, looks like he's just been called to grab another one.
Yeah, I think Connor's car, the rear wheel, from what I could see, was pointed in the wrong direction.
And that weather's actually closing in a little bit more, looking at it.
Yeah, we kind of need some wipers up here shortly.
Yeah, yep, it's swung round a bit.
So the drivers will now line up. They'll try and restart the race. Will they cut it back or go the full distance? We'll just play it by ear. What do you tell the drivers in this situation? There's nothing you can do. You just got to sit back and just wait and see what happens.
Yeah, the hard part is they're going to all be there sitting away, nervous as anything, starting to breathe heavily, and that's obviously going to fog up windscreens, and it's pretty difficult when you get into these conditions. The worst part you can have is if you can't see anything out the windscreen.
And what effect can that have on the car being parked up? Because they've just got warmed up, just got the heat into the tyres, the engines are going, all of a sudden now they stop, cool up. Overheating, underheating, what? Any problems, any issues?
These cars are pretty good. They can sit there and run away, and the fan will turn on. So right at the moment, the guys will be switched off. They've got the heat and the engine's okay. It'll be just getting the tyre temperatures back up to speed for the start of the race, and that'll be the challenge. And obviously starting to understand the grip level with that extra rain on the circuit right now.
Yeah, and also how, hopefully you're going to get another chance to get safely through another restarted lap before they start pushing it too hard again, because otherwise you could have another crash on the restart, and then it's like a domino effect.
As you said, it's a 15-lap race, so the guys, if the instructions from the teams are to guys get out there, learn what the grip levels are, and as the race comes on, starting to challenge when you understand exactly what it's got. It's just unfortunate in that first lap if you're sort of going out into new territory, and particularly these new young guys, it's often their first wet race that they've ever done.
And in between the series, I understand the cars are what? Are they pulled apart, rebuilt, or what?
Look, the cars don't require, because they're effectively a road car. Certainly from a maintenance point of view, the guys are doing oil changes, and they're obviously going through, and they're not. If you have a good run on a weekend, it's sort of a day to prep the car to get it ready for the next meeting. Obviously, if you have any incidents and accidents, it's another process again.
So as you see in the program, are they based up in what, Hampton Downs?
Yep, all of the cars are based, well, not all of the cars, most of the cars here are all independently owned, but they were built at Hampton Downs. Neil Allport did all of the chassis for Toyota New Zealand, and then Toyota New Zealand crew have assembled all the cars from brand new cars, so they're all absolutely identically spec'd. You can't even change the likes of a seat belt without it being exactly the series seat belt. So
that's all the benefits of one make motor racing. Then it comes down to the race teams, the individual ability of the drivers. Teretonga Tasties, they'll be flying out the door today out of the caravan. That's the old the bacon and egg tasty down here that is famous for Invercargill. So once again, the course cars going back out. Got the little wee Hondas around the track. So the course car will go back and they'll go, have an inspection to see if everything's ready to go racing again? Is that the process?
Yeah, I saw Shane Harris earlier on. I'm not sure whether he was heading to him, but if there's any damage to the tyre wall or anything that they're concerned about, they're obviously going to need to deal with it before they recommence the race.
So we still have the South Island Porsche Series over 8 laps to go. The Castrol Toyota Racing Series Race 1, 20 laps in the rain, set to go at 3:30 this afternoon. So that may be slightly later because we still have the Porsche race to go, and we still have to get this race back on track and hopefully finished as well. So we've got Clint Brown, Jeff Short, and also Roger. Knows all about the local track conditions. This is getting wetter, isn't it now, Roger? She's starting to set in now. This is getting
very wet.
This is going to be surfed. At what stage do you have to have a look at the track before it becomes unraceable?
Well, over where that incident occurred, I'd mentioned to you earlier, we've had a problem there with standing water, and it's a very low part of the track. And I think maybe that they may have just put a wheel into there and then canned off a wee bit. We could see on the monitor that the car there was one car almost into the grass,
Going onto the grass, so even less grip.
Yeah, and he
couldn't take the corner, straight through, bang.
I think that was the chain of reaction there.
So I just had a message through that Mitch is okay. It's just a minor muscular injury. So
that's good news then for young Mitch Hughes, car number 83, 19-year-old from Hamilton. He's being checked by the medical staff.
Yeah, the Purdue boys are running a shuttle service there. As soon as they drop one off in the centre, the truck comes to here, and the other one goes on stand down the other end of the track. So, as my old mate Dorker said, they're just busy enough.
Dorker. That's another movie. Team Police America. Right, conditions challenging here at Teretonga SpeedWorks Motorsport Championship. If you're joining us, this is the live stream via YouTube. So we've still got some races to go this afternoon. Have you ever actually had to cancel a race meeting at Teretonga because it got too wet?
We got flooded out. 1980, either 84 or 87
We
floods.
had one down here in the pit lane where it was so wet, the V8s, you know, we had to stop for a while, but then it cleared up.
Had the fire brigade here a couple of times.
That's right, you had to pump the water out
off the infield, but it's certainly nowhere near as wet as what that was. I think these guys will be okay. I mean, they've got good wets on the car. If they get a couple of laps behind the safety car just to sort of understand what the conditions are like, I'm sure they'll be fine.
Yeah, don't push it. Just be smart. Stay on the track. Stay in between the white lines, as we talked about, and then hopefully you can complete this race. But the wind how's the wind strength out there at the moment? Because I'm just thinking about the level of for the wings and slicks for the Toyota Racing Series for the TRS.
Yeah, well, that wind's just dropped right down again. I mean, those flags were flying a few minutes ago, so it's just that weather's certainly coming and going. There's no doubt about that. When the wind's up, it's coming from the west a bit, but when the wind drops, it's just swinging back to the north a bit.
So we just take a look at the field as they're lining up on the grid. It's 23 Jordan Baldwin out of Auckland. And
yellow lights.
So the safety car still flashing, circuit light still flashing. 23 Jordan Baldwin, he's currently in the best spot. He's in the front of the grid. Right behind him is number 53, which is from Miles Toyota out of Christchurch, Jaden Ransley. And then 31, Jacob Cranston. He's the young guy you talked about from Palmerston North, an 18-year-old. And right behind him is number 99, Justin Allen out of Fielding. So some boys from the central North Island really taking their chance to move up the grid and the field here in the Toyota 86. The Nexus car, Brock Gilchrist. I think our mate Mike Lightfoot would be very pleased about the performance of Brock as the sponsor. He's qualified really well at the front part of the field and kept it up into the top 5. And then 84, Peter Vodanovic, who's the young 17-year-old out of Auckland. Picked up a race win last weekend, so he's one of the contenders coming through. Connor Adam, number 9, as they start to take off. Post-haste, he started with a lot of speed at Pukekohe and now just sort of mid-pack, and talking to him last night at the restaurant, he's very positive about getting a good result and moving back up towards the front of the field. Caleb Natoa, Callum Hedge has been stuck back in the starting order. Number 17, Sam Wright, Campbell Stewart, Aaron Crichton, Andrew Jackson, and of course the 2 DNFs at the moment, Connor Davison and Mitch Hughes. So getting set to go racing again. Now it's all about clearing the nerves, getting your breathing right, trying to relax behind the wheel, and this time keep it on the black stuff, the wet stuff. 3 laps and of the 15. So we've still got 12 to go.
Plenty of water out there, that's for sure.
Some memories of racing here in the rain, Jeff?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough. I raced in a production car with 4-wheel drive, and it was magnificent in the rain. But it's certainly not pleasant for these young guys that haven't been there before. They got to learn something that's totally new to them, and as you say, without falling off the black stuff.
Roger?
I was always told to drive like you had an egg underneath your accelerator foot. So that if you press it too hard, you're going to break the egg. So just gentle, gentle. Squeeze what you can out of the car.
I suppose the hard thing is also your braking too, because it's going to take longer to stop, isn't it?
Well, once you lock those wheels up, it's history. So
Skid Row. So the Lexus safety car out in the front of the field. The flashing lights are still on. We'll see if it comes along pit lane and pulls in, and will we go racing and we'll complete the 4th lap under the safety car, or will we get the restart? So what's going to happen here? Who's the big Jordan, Jaden, Jacob and Justin? Can the 4 Js make it a 4-way fight for the lead? It looks like we're going to have one more lap.
I wouldn't be surprised if they give them another lap round just to get a feel for it. Yep, looks like what's happening. That way the guys get to see where the puddles are, ponding is. They'll actually struggle to get heat into the tyres when it's this bad.
Yeah, they're running a really soft Hankook wet, which certainly has really good grip. Once they can get some temperature in them, they'll certainly work well. Hence why instructions would have been, guys, get out there, just find your way, and as the race comes on, the tyres will start working better.
So the field just sweeping around out of the southern loop, out of the sweeper. They'll roll through Castrol, 2.62 kilometres through the S's, around the hairpin, which still has a lot more flow about it than other tracks, through the Brickyard, down by the Elbow. So far we haven't had too many problems going into and out of the Elbow. Not that we've actually got there too much. And then the straight and around the sweeper. They've been very good around the sweeper so far. It's just coming out of the sweeper and picking up where those safe spots are.
You guys might find this hard to believe, but a few years back we had a period where some of our competitors had not raced in the wet in Clubman's races. They've been racing for a couple.
I find that very hard to believe.
They've done a couple of years and hadn't been at a wet race meeting.
Well, they're getting a lot of experience today, and of course they say if you can win in the wet, it's a good sign that you're a good racer. Can be a lot easier in the dry, but it's a challenging conditions, a different story, different mindset too, psychologically in the rain. So coming around the top of the GWD Elbow, good field, 15 cars, great sight, Toyota 86s in the wet here.
Safety car lights are still on, so they're still going to run another lap by the look of it.
Safety car lights. I wonder if they're still waiting for does the track settle down? Have they got people on the other side that cleared everything? They must have cleared everything.
Oh, maybe they're doing some tyre wall work still.
Just wondering if they're just doing some last minute repairs to that track.
Yeah, I doubt that, because surely they wouldn't have released them. So I think it's just really the wet conditions, and obviously the race director being concerned about what the conditions are like. But as I said, the tyres have certainly got plenty of grip. There is a lot of water out there, but they'll certainly can pump the water away. They've just got to be sensible about their driving.
So 5 laps have gone under the safety car. Quickest lap so far has been a 1:20.2 by Baldwin, 1:20.1 by Jaden Ransley. Cranston's done a 1:19.4 actually, and then Justin Allen a 1:20.9. Gilchrist a 1:21.4, 1:21 for Vidanovic. Connor Adam a 1:20.6, 1:20.0 for Caleb Natoa. Callum Hedge a 1:22.9. So he's back in 9th place. He's the man that currently leads the series, Callum Hedge. And that's a little bit of a surprise to see him back there. Sam Wright in the top 10, number 7, 1:21. Then it's Campbell Stewart, Aaron Knight, Crichton, and Andrew Jackson. So the Corvette guys are bottom part of that field. Right, the lights are out on the safety car. We've had a couple of laps to get them all warmed up, to get them all ready to go racing again. So we'll have 10 to go. Hold on to it. Hang on to it. Let's see what happens. So now it's up to Jordan Baldwin to control that start. Green light, green flags are racing. So here we go down the main straight. Jordan Baldwin, he's away. Ransley down the inside. Jacob Cranston, Justin Allen, Brock, Peter. If it was the other way around, you could say Peter Brock. Round the sweeper, that's Peter Vodanovic and Brock Gilchrist. So looks like they're all into and around the sweeper safely. No, we've got one spinner. One spinner.
Sam Wright.
It's number 7, Sam Wright. Can he get going again?
Might have parked it in the gravel trap.
So it's still Borden, Ransley, Cranston, Justin Allen. So the Tony Richards Toyota number 7 car of Sam Wright. He's done the right thing off the track, getting back onto it, so that's great. Now we're going back through this really difficult circuit part of the circuit here at Teretonga. All safely around that part, heading around towards the Brickyard and then down to the elbow to complete the first lap. Look at the spray. Look at the surface water. They've all given each other a bit of racing room, which is good.
Yeah, just really difficult to see in these conditions, and obviously when you're trying to make an overtaking move and the amount of spray coming off the car in front of you, so it's challenging conditions for sure.
So we'll see what sort of lap times they're doing after this lap. Jordan Baldwin's just done a 1:15.8, 1:16.4 for Ransley, 16.2 for Cranston. All in the 16 straight away. Campbell Stewart 17 and Aaron Crichton 18s. So back round the sweeper, 7 gone, 8 to go. Baldwin's got a lead of around about a second. Jordan Baldwin, Jaden Ransley, Cranston. So this is, if they stay where they are, this could be a chance to change that points of the championship, with Callum Hedge back in 9th place still. Man who leads the series.
Yeah, a couple of the karting boys. Obviously, he's got Caleb Nato straight in front of him.
Oh, twitchy there, one of them. Oh, a lot of them going around the S's, Connor Adam. Just about lost it, but brought it back under control, which was good. That's that difficult part of the circuit we talked a bit about, where it's got a lot of surface water and puddles, ponding happening. Adam under pressure now from Caleb Nato. Coming down back onto the main straight, Jordan Baldwin. See what sort of time. He's opened up a good lead. Smooth and fast, keeping it cool out in front. Setting on the 1:15s. He and Ransley got about a 1.2 second lead now. Connor Adam under pressure from Caleb Nato is now under pressure from 17, Callum Hedge. So Hedge trying to move up. Baldwin keeping it under control, coming around. Nato, Hedge, and then Campbell Stewart.
Right on it as well.
Down through Castrol. Gee, it looks difficult out there. If you'll take a look on the live stream with the headlights and the spray. Still raining, although it's a little bit lighter. Well, it looks like clouds lifting a bit. Now here we go, round the S's, down into the hairpin, under braking. A lot of surface water around there.
Hedgie went sideways. Now here we go with
Campbell Stewart.
With Campbell Stewart.
So the blue 86, he's making a move, and suddenly the leader in the series is down the back of the pack. So it's still the 4 J's, Jordan, Jaden, Jacob and Justin. Still dominating the top 4, and then it's 10, Brock, and 84, Peter. Brock Gilchrist.
Jaden just starting to come on now. He's just picked up half a second on Jordan Baldwin. So a 14.87. So that's time of the race.
Yeah, and he's about, brought it back from about 1.2 down to just a 1/9 of a second. So round the sweeper, 9 gone. Tiptoeing here at Teretonga. 23, Jaden Baldwin still out in front. Let's keep an eye on Jaden Ransley, doing a really good job out of Christchurch. He's been closing in as they sweep through to the S's.
Brock Gilchrist doing a good job too. He's looking nice and smooth. He's come up on the back of Justin Allen.
Looks like Callum Hedge has picked up that spot he lost to Campbell Stewart, and Campbell Stewart's going to try and pay it back as they come out of the S's down towards the hairpin. Hold on to it, lads. Good racing, side by side, gave each other a bit of room. That's good in the rain.
That's great move for somebody that's first season in.
So these guys are 9 and 10, having their own little wee private race down the back of the field. The rest of the guys have all got a nice little cushion, give each other a bit of chance to see, because it's hard to see the car in front of you anyway, with all that spray. Baldwin still out in front.
Yeah, and Jaden's just gone quicker again by another couple of tenths.
1:14.8 for Baldwin, 1:14.6 for Ransland. It's down to 0.7, so he is closing in with 5 laps to go.
Here's your second Kiewicz car. You've got Aaron Crichton right on the back of Callum.
So this is a real learning curve here for the racers, young racers, a lot of teenagers in the wet here at Teretonga. Jordan Baldwin doing a good job in car number 23. He's one of the older racers in the field. He's been in the series for a couple of years, 20 years old. He's been a rookie racer and one of the rookie of the year, wasn't he?
Rookie of the year last year. So first season and last year. He's done a great job and certainly one of our contenders for this season. As
we said at the start of the year, one of the guys to watch out for, and he's really starting to show that experience here in the wet at Teretonga. Currently back in 3rd place in the championship, only 2 behind Ransley. So he and Ransley really good, pushing on the door of the championship, especially with Callum back down the field. Jordan, Jaden, Jacob and Justin, the 4J still hanging in there.
There's a move from Justin Allen on Jacob Cranston. Must have just got it wrong off the hairpin or made a wee mistake.
So a little bit of drive coming out of the GWD elbow, and now Justin takes Jacob. Now it's back to around about 0.8. Oh, Justin just a little bit of a twitch going into the sweeper, but then he brings it back under control, which is great. Tightens it up around the exit, lets it flow wide and keeps it onto the track. Jacob right behind him as they roll into Castrol.
Here's a move up the inside. Oh.
Thought about it, pulled back.
Going to quite get there. Thought about it well.
So both the leaders did 1:14.6 in that last lap, and both these two guys did 1:15.3, exactly the same time. That's why they're basically bumper to bumper. 1st and 2nd, 3rd and 4th. 2 great little battles at the moment. 4 to go. Inching their way towards the checkered flag. Jordan Baldwin crosses the start-finish line. He's got that nice handy lead. Back to about 0.9 of a second. 1:14.4 for Baldwin, 1:14.5 for Ransley, 1:15.6 for Allen, and 1:15.8 for Jacob Cranston. Rest of the field doing 1:15.6. Peter Vidanovic, 1:15.3. Connor Adam in 7th. Caleb Natar, 8th. Cable Stewart, 9th. And Callum Hedge and Aaron Crichton, 10 and 11, the 2 Carevet cars. Careful down the back of the field in the rain. Baldwin's doing a good job, though, out in front. He's holding on from Jaden Ransley. Jacob Cranston and also Justin Allen, the 2 guys just down the road from each other, from Palmerston North and Fielding. Connor Adam doing a pretty good job there at the moment, holding off the pressure.
Had a few moments earlier on, but he seems to have settled back in. I mean, it's got Caleb Natar right behind him, so the pressure's certainly on.
Sun shining, just starting to clear a bit. Rain still falling. Jordan Baldwin still leading, 1:14.3. Still only 1/8 of a second between them. Justin Allen nicely into 3rd place. So the big improver out of Highlands, he's shown that was no fluke. He's really got to grips with these cars now, starting to work his way up and be a contender. But just racing better and smoother and faster and doing a great job in the number 99 cars. 2 of them down the back of the sweeper.
Jaden really pushing on here now. He's trying to pick up Jordan.
So we've got two blue cars coming down through to Castrol, having a real good battle. Caleb Natar and Campbell Stewart.
Yeah, Campbell's done a great job here. I mean, as I say, it's his fit. Oh, here we go.
Oh, just ran wide out of Castrol.
Yep. Just picked up another spot. Great for International Motorsport. I think all 3 of their cars now.
Fastest man out there in that last lap was Jaden Ransley, did a 1:14.2, but still Jordan Baldwin has the all-important lead as we get set for the last lap. Toyota 86s, round 4, Teretonga, SpeedWorks Motorsport Championship. It's the SpeedWorks Wet Championship today. Baldwin now with the lead of, yeah, he's kept it pretty much the same. 1:14.1, Jaden Ransley, so he's got to push.
There's only 400ths in that lap, though.
Yeah.
Jordan was about 14.17.
Oh, both of them virtually identical.
14.9 for Jacob Cranston, also a good time.
Geez, 4,000ths of a second between them. So here they go, down through Castrol. Jordan Baldwin doing a good job. He's led since the restart, basically took control from the start of the race. Really showing his potential here in the rain, doing a superb job. Justin Allen holding on to third from Jacob Cranston. Then Brock Gilchrist.
Great job by Brock. He's just kept his nose clean, being sensible about it, collecting points, doing a great job.
And everything we talked about at the restart, the drivers have actually done here, haven't they? They've done a really good job. They haven't dinged it, put it back into the fence. Checkered flag, standing by. Here they come. Jordan Baldwin, welcome back to the winner's circle. And the rookie racer from last year will get a win this year. Puts himself back in contention in the championship. Jaden Ransley is currently second in the championship, collects more points. Justin Allen, the big improver, up to third. Jacob Cranston, great drive for fourth. Brock Gilchrist of the Nexus car, good drive of the top 5. Followed by Peter Vodanovic, Connor Adam, Caleb Stewart, Campbell Stewart, Caleb Nartoa, Callum Hedge, series leader, back in 10th. That's a bit of a surprise there, followed by Aaron Crichton, Andrew Jackson and Sam Wright. So what's your take on that, racing in the rain?
Oh, the guys did a great job in that second part of the race. It's just unfortunate in that first lap. A couple of our newbies, so hopefully they're not too badly damaged. Didn't look good on Mitch's car, but we'll go and have a look and see if we can get them all going for tomorrow.
But you've got the 4 Js there, Jordan, Jaden, Justin and Jacob, and the 2 guys, Jordan and Jaden, you know, knocking on the door now. They're both second and third in the championship, and with the leader back in 10th, it's going to be a change in the points.
Absolutely, it's going to close the points right up, and I think there'll be nothing in it between all 3 of them, to the point that Jordan, yeah, it'll be very, very close.
And then the format for race 2 tomorrow?
Format tomorrow is the fastest second qualifying lap that they had this morning will determine their grid position. So similar grids, although there's a bit of a mix-up. Some of the guys managed to get out 1 lap. Some of them got 2 consistently. Jaden Ransley was certainly the class act in qualifying, and he took both fastest lap times, so he starts from pole again tomorrow.
All right. Stick around. That's it for the 86s. And coming up next, we'll be standing by for the South Island Porsche Championship as the rain just starts to drop a bit, just starts to clear a bit, and hopefully it'll give the track a chance to dry out a bit for the Porsches. Right, the field now lining up on the grid for the next race on the card today, which is the South Island Porsche Series. They did a swap around so the Castrol Toyota Racing Series could start close to time. And I think, Mike Baker, it's turned out to be really good for the drivers in the Porsches because they've ended up getting a dry track and certainly the best conditions of the afternoon.
They have, Clint, and yeah, there's a few dejected looking faces there before the rain, but they'll enjoy the track looking really, really good.
So, drying track, South Island Porsches, front row of the grid, Marco 9, Hayden Knighton, Audi 9, and for the first time today, the inside pole position where it's now dry has got off to a good start and down to the first corner to the sweeper in the lead because every other race, P2 has had an advantage in the wet for some reason. So Hayden Knighton had a clean sweep. Hayden Knighton had a clean sweep around Highlands.
Yep, he really enjoyed the racing that weekend and he had a lot of fresh air, so he was very pleased with the result. But Marco's going to keep him honest, and it'll be interesting to see how this first lap pans out.
So this is the 8-lapper for the South Island Porsche Series. Hayden Knighton, 89 out of Christchurch. 9 is Marco Schultz, also out of Christchurch. And here they are down the start-finish line and a good lead. Both doing 106s, so straight away onto their qualifying speeds. Jonas Patterson doing a good job at the moment on 818. He's up into third, and good scrap here as they come down through the S's, and that's a good bunch of cars coming out of the sweeper. A couple of the GT4s. So it's a mixture of machinery, mixture of technology, and a mixture of driving skills and ability, but also good now it's on a dry track. So what are the tyres they'll be using here? Dot rated tyre, what have they got?
No, they are on a proper wet racing yeah, I'd say Jonas is and Gary's a good peddler, so Jonas will be happy with that.
So 3 laps have gone now in the South Island Porsche Series. And Mike Baker, Marco, Hayden out in front. Down to the 103s now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hayden and Marco are battling it out there. Yeah, Hayden's only 0.03 of a second behind Marco, but, you know, this track, those little bits make quite a difference. So Chris Fleury's pulling a good lead on our North Island driver, Steph Chambers. So Chris will be happy with that. He qualified behind Steph. So we've sort of got battles between battles here from the air-cooled and the water-cooled machines.
Certainly got the best pick of the conditions this afternoon now because the track has really actually dried out quite quickly. I think some of the guys, the locals, were saying once that wind kicked in from down the west, it's actually really, it's quite remarkable compared to the heavy rain that we had during the 86 when we had all the cars lined up along pit lane with the restart.
Yes, yeah, the poor 86 has had the worst condition of the day so far, but so the cars are getting sort of stretched out now, and we've got the later model 991s, 997s out there, and we've got the GT4s going past the stop go area there. The two Stewart brothers are competing with the two GT4s.
So you got what, 989 Guy Stewart, and you got Marcus Stewart in 939.
Yes, yeah. Guy's having a wee look up the bum of is that Stu Callaway there? I think it is it?
41, the GT4 out of.
Yep. Oh, Guy's got past him.
So he's made a good move down through to Castrol, and 981 right behind him, John Buchanan from Queenstown and the other GT4 as well. So it's a good move there by Guy Stewart.
It is a good move. He just seemed to maybe Stu's had a bit of a moment there, or Guy seems to have pulled away from him, which is very unusual, but good on you, Guy.
So 5 laps have gone now. Handy lead for Marco. Gee, I tell you what, straight out of the box, he's been really quick, and Hayden Knighton had it all his own way last weekend, but now he's 1.8 seconds down. And Marco showing all of that experience of racing overseas in Germany through the Nürburgring.
Yeah.
Showing his class and just controlling the race, but Hayden doing a good job settling into a good speed in second, and I think Jonas Patterson was doing a good job in third. There's Steph Chambers going around the backside of the track now. Sun shining here at Teretonga. Go figure.
Awesome. Awesome.
Just wait a minute and wait for the change.
Yes, yeah. I see the...
hopefully conditions like this for tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. That'll come. That'll come.
So 6 laps gone, a couple to go. 103.0999 for Marco Schelp. Hayden Knighton in second, 89. He's just done a 103.4. That was his best time. They're both doing around about 105, 106 at the moment. So tell us a bit about the history of this car. Number 9, out in front, flashing the yellow lights.
Yes, Marco is...
warning the slower car in front to move over. That's, what's that, Guy Stewart? No, Chris Fleury.
Chris Fleury. Yep, that's a typical Nürburgring message to get out of the way. That car was brought in from Germany. Marco's done a lot of miles in that. And it's a very, very quick car, beautifully prepared.
Chris Fleury seems to be quite happy circulating towards the rear of the field, doing 114s. Any issues with Chris?
Yeah, Chris, I don't know what's going on there. I'll have to give him a bit of a rev up when we get back in the pits this afternoon. Whether it's a tyre, I know he had some old sort of dot-rated tyres on there, so maybe he's saving the best tyres for tomorrow.
Well, the best guys are certainly out in front. Last lap, 103 was still the quickest for both of them. 105.6, 105.4 for Hayden Knighton. So 89, Hayden Knighton coming out of the sweeper now. And in front row, about just under a second, is this car, looking really sharp too.
Yeah.
Marco Schelp from Porsche, out of Germany via Christchurch, and showing why he's the man to beat, so I suppose. Hayden Knighton, when he grabbed the chance to go 3 out of 3 last weekend, great way to start the new year, but a bit of a reality check this weekend.
Well, I think also, you know, Hayden's bagged 300 points from that meeting last weekend, and Marco wasn't there, so there's no need to sort of get too panicky at this stage. Just be consistent and keep putting the laps in. But Jonas is the man. I mean, it's his birthday a couple of days ago, so he'll be feeling very chuffed with himself.
Marco takes the checkered flag, gets the win. Hayden Knighton comes home in second, and it's going to be the birthday man, Jonas Patterson, 818. He should come home in third spot to wrap up the podium. And he does it in style too, so he'll be happy with that performance. Just a couple of seconds down on the speed of Hayden Knighton and also Schelp, but, you know, a couple of years behind in experience and also drivability. In fact, quite a few years behind in experience. Only been racing, what, for a couple of years, Jonas, but doing a good job.
Oh, he's doing an awesome job. Yeah, he's really enjoying his car, so that's good.
And then the rest of the field, Gary Derrick out of Timaru, followed by Guy Stewart, probably one of the big improvers of that particular race, the 989.
Guy's done an awesome job to go from where he was in qualifying to, what, the 5th position. That's very good.
Now the rest of the field coming home, the GT4s, Stu Callaway, John Buchanan, Marcus Stewart, Cliff Fleury, and Steph Chambers will round out the field, but she'll be quite happy having driven all the way down from Auckland to enjoy the racing here at Teretonga because she loves the track, and it's a chance to go and get your need for speed, to get your petrol head fix.
Excellent.
So thanks very much, Mike. You can go and check out a very happy bunch of drivers. They obviously were a bit nervous with the rain beforehand, but by delaying their race, they've got the pick of the conditions, and they'll be very, very sought after, very happy.
Oh, I think they will be, and the white bait paddies over there in the pit food area is just fantastic. Good Southland tucker. Good
organic, free-range whitebait, healthy food. Highly recommended by the nutritionists. Yes. Stick around. Next up, we'll be continuing with the action, and it'll be the B&T V8s over 16 laps. Time to go around about 4 o'clock, only about half an hour late. So everything's under control, and Mike Baker will probably be back to join us for the SpeedWorks rush hour when the Porsches come back for their Enduro with a 20-minute pit stop window. They'll all be delayed. The faster guys will get a longer pit stop. The slower guys will get a big advantage, and then it'll turn into a 20-minute handicap sprint race. So a 3-in-1 showdown this afternoon in the sunshine at Teretonga. Test, 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 test. 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1. Test, 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 2, 1. That's B. So the field just starting to line up on the grid very soon, just doing their formation lap for the B&T V8s. Just working on the PA system. We know that the infield around turn 3 and 4 is very loud. We're just trying to alter that level, but also get it up and down the other straight where it's a bit quiet. But they're both all the same control. So just the odd intermittent cutout every once in a while. But Roger and the boys from the Southland Car Club are onto it.
Yeah, a bit of fine tuning, I believe.
And who would have thought, after qualifying this morning and then looking at the conditions, racing at 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock this afternoon, we would be out here in the sunshine, sitting on about 20 odd degrees like it was yesterday, and slick tyres with the B&T V8s and no sign of any rain. Go figure.
Very changeable conditions. This is like Auckland, Clint.
Yeah, well, it was brilliant conditions yesterday. Lovely and sunny for practice. Hot track. And the man who's certainly in hot form at the moment, number 85, Jack Smith, leads with 651 points. He'll be on pole. Alongside him, Brenton Grove, the two Australians out in front. Car number 10 as they line up. He's currently back at 5th place in the championship, so he certainly needs a good result. Nick Ross is currently second in the Nissan with 567. So a handy lead for Jack Smith after a clean sweep last weekend. So the challenge now is for Brenton Grove 10, Nick Ross, Lance Hughes to get some good points along with Chelsea Herbert after a DNF in the last race out at Highland Park in round 3. Round 4, B&T V8's Teretonga. Back on the YouTube via SpeedWorks after all the excitement of the Kiwi Showdown once again as they continue to dominate the racing here at Teretonga in the Castrol Toyota Racing Series. Now, so far P1 has been a disadvantage, but here it's a rolling start.
Rolling start, yeah.
So that won't be a problem, and it's a drying track. So the two Aussies out in front here in the B&T V8 16-lapper. Murray Taylor, he loves the tin tops. Mobile home, Murray Taylor. Racing, red lights are out, green lights are on, we're away. Too wide, down the front straight. Down into the sweeper, the two Aussies going to go side by side. Who is going to yield? Nick Ross takes advantage, tucks up the inside and tries to cut Grove out of the picture. But Grove should be able to stay there because he'll have the inside line into Castrol. So that was nicely done, Roger, because no one suffered badly. All smooth and fast around the sweeper and down to the back part of the circuit.
I thought for a start we didn't have a start. It was running that close.
Further back down the field, Braden Phillips straight out of the Mazdas and into the Ford Falcon in the Class 2 car. So the top three contenders: Grove, Smith, Ross, Hughes, Herbert, Wallace, Lathrope, Tubbs. Tubbs has had a few issues this weekend, but Jack Smith straight out in front. Brenton Grove hunting him down. Held on to that second spot under pressure from Nick Ross, who was very quick around here last year in the lap record. What is a 59 held by Nick Ross?
Correct. 59.791.
So he's the man who knows all about how to race around here and how to win around here. Question is, has he got the machinery this weekend to do it?
Jack Smith, almost in the next class, isn't he?
Well, he's just taken that step up. He's been here, a lot of seat time, and he's just come straight back after a non-stop race. Oh, Lance Hughes. Not a good weekend for this very cool-looking car. We'll try and work out what happened there. Bit of a moment for the man who's currently third in the series with 515 points. 54-year-old Lance Hughes out of Hamilton. Smith crossed the finish line, down to a minute, 0.4. Grove, a minute, 0.8. Nick Ross, a minute, 0.9. Then it's Herbert, 102.2. Rob Wallace, 102.6. Lathrope, 102.7. So those three cars are going to have their own scrap. Smith now got just under a second lead, so he's already starting to open up a nice handy gap. Chelsea Herbert flowing through in 4th place at the moment. She'll be really keen to try and get some consistency and mileage out of that Camry, along with the whole team from Tony Richards. Toyota had to do a new motor after it basically cooked itself at Highland Motorsport Park. And the Ford Falcon down the backside of the Dale ITM Ford Falcon of 73 Brad Lathrope. He's going to be closing in on Rob Wallace. That's going to be a good little wee battle to watch out for. So smooth and fast at the moment, those three. Jack Smith, can he do a lap record here? Pretty amazing when you think of the conditions if he got close to doing a lap record today. Still sitting on about the 60 seconds, 0.4.
Hour and a half ago, he could have been in the hydroplane race.
Here's the Class 2 battle. Racer out of Rolleston in Canterbury, Justin Ashwell. Done a lot of work to reset that car since the last round. A lot of technical issues, along with the 18-year-old from Inglewood, Matt Pajeski. So these two having their own little wee private battle. What sort of speeds are they doing? 105.2, the last one for Pajeski, and Ashwell 105.3. So just a tenth of a second between them. And inside each other on the track, with Lance Hughes making up for that off. Braden Phillips further back down the field, just getting some good seat time, having a drive thanks to Grandad. Smith, Grove, Ross. And he's getting closer to the 59 mark. He's just done a 60.2 after a 60.4 the previous time. Grove sitting on the 101 61s. Nick Ross 61s as well. Chelsea Herbert 61.3, so she's got some good speed. As Lance Hughes storms down the front straight, overtakes the two Class 2 cars. All nicely spread out now after 4 laps. So they've got it easy, these guys, haven't they, when you think about it? Gee.
Nice sunny day, Saturday afternoon drive.
Yep. They could really sit back and relax and enjoy the action here. SpeedWorks Motorsport Championship round 4. And the man out in front, keep an eye on his times as he comes down to the start-finish line to do 5 laps. What time has he got now? Still sitting on the 60 seconds. 60.1, so knocking on the door. What's he got to beat?
59.791.
And that's currently held by this man on the screen with the live stream at the moment, the Total Lubricants car of 007 Nick Ross. It's a very cool looking car. He might be one of the guys looking at perhaps a Dodge Challenger next year. I think the Holden boys would be quite keen on the Chevrolet Camaro.
They would have to be. Is Nissan going to run?
Not sure. You may sell that car and buy another one. Lexus guys are looking at bringing a Lexus in apparently, so that'd be pretty cool if you had a Lexus. You had a Ford Mustang, a Chevrolet Camaro, and a Dodge Challenger. Down to the start-finish line to let's make it a 6-pack. 59.8. So we're getting close now.
He's right there. He's knocking on the door.
So those Dunlops are coming up to speed. And Jack Smith, really good racer now out of Australia. Just getting smoother, faster, and more consistent. Laying down the challenge to Brenton Grove. He's finally got some good machinery under his seat this weekend. And he's basically doing the 60.6, 60.7 for Nick Ross. So those two are really, really close as well. Herbert enjoying a drive. So they just want to bring it home, get some consistency, get some points. But Nick Ross, will we see his lap record go today? And that would be a huge surprise. 59.7, 59.872 for Jack Smith after 6 with 10 to go. So he's really starting to wind this baby up. 59.686, he's done a new lap record.
Yep.
So well done to Jack Smith. Lance Hughes, though, at the same time, their teammate, looks like he's going backwards and struggling. Going to try and limp back around to the pits. So if you wanted proof that Jack Smith is the man to beat in the B&T V8s this year, He's come down here. He's never raced here because last year the car blew up. Didn't get a chance to actually go racing. Sat back and watched. But he's certainly watched and he's learnt a hell of a lot because he's really quick this weekend. 59.686, a new lap record for the V8s at Teretonga. The digger car, Justin Ashwell, now coming under pressure from the Taranaki racer. So North Island, South Island battle in Class 2. And he's gone back to a 60 seconds now. So it was lap 7. Did the business. So let's see what these two guys can do if Pajewski can actually close the gap on number 11, because there's 553 points for the number 11 car. Oh. 493. Smith just slipping under Braden Phillips, doing his best to get out of the way. So I think he's settled down into a nice, relaxed rhythm here at the moment, Jack Smith. Car looks really, really sweet, doesn't it?
Car looks beautiful. That's a Ford man talking about a Holden.
Well, Lance Hughes, he's parked up on the infield.
Hasn't even made it back.
No, so that's disappointment for Barry. He'll have a lot of work to do. Mind you, there's a lot of other Barrys, and the whole team's called Barry, so they'll all chip in and work it out. Grove, how's he going? A 61.6. Nick Ross now the battle for third, but there's quite a gap now, 5.7 seconds. So once again, Jack Smith has just opened up a gap. He's gapped the field and driving away, literally driving away with the B&T Championship at this stage. But then again, you have one DNF and that can completely change the entire round, completely change the entire championship. But now they've all got a bit of racing room, haven't they? All nicely spread out. They can actually do their own thing, get the feeling of the car, get back into the rhythm of racing.
Makes you think the rain wasn't so bad.
It's probably cleared the track, mate.
Track will be nice and clean.
Good clean track. Wind, I think that wind has certainly just picked up this afternoon, and that's helped to dry it out. Yeah. So Jack Smith just circulating in the 60 seconds now after 10 laps and 6 to go. So got some early heat into those tyres, bit more fuel coming off, and really found the sweet spot. Set a new lap record. Now he's just cruising, trying to bring it home to victory and extending that lead out to 6.3 seconds. So how can Nick Ross respond? How can he can see Brenton Grove in front? He knows the Camry's had a few issues. Brenton Grove, of course, he's got Bruce Price out of Australia helping with the team get that set up, and I know the whole team at Tony Richards' title will be just determined really to make sure they bring those cars home and they get a good finish, get rid of all the gremlins out of their system. So the difference there, they're both circulating on the same time. Last lap, they both did 60.832 for number 10, Brenton Grove, 60.879 for Nick Ross. The Camry seems to have a nice bit of speed down that front straight, doesn't it? Just seems to pull away a bit. About 0.9 of a second between the two.
So what have we got? We've got a Holden, a Camry.
Holden, a Camry, and a Nissan.
Yeah.
So 3 different manufacturers at the front of the field.
Who's fourth?
Fourth at the moment, Chelsea Herbert in car 62. 77 on the screen at the moment with the live stream. It's Matt Pajewski. In fact, whatever the changes the team with Justin Ashwell have done to that car, they've actually done a really good job. They've stripped it back and found a whole lot of issues, and they've tweaked it, so they've got a lot more speed. But Pajewski, he's done the same thing with his car as well, and they're both neck and neck. 105.3, 105.0 the last time. Both of them are 105.032 for Ashwell, 105.014 for Pajewski. So they are now pulling up to the bumper. Matt having a look as they charge around the sweeper. This is the Class 2 battle. Little private sort of meeting between these two guys. Matt's got to work his way through this field and pick his moment to try and pounce. Try and send him up down to the elbow, you reckon? Get some good drive through here. Isn't it incredible how we were talking about the 86s? All around this part of the track was just treacherous.
The amount of water that was lying there.
The surface water was ponding and puddles everywhere.
Just gone.
Look at the speed of Jack Smith. He's actually catching up to the Class 2 guys. So that really is a Class 1 performance, isn't it?
Well, he had another flying lap last time, and I thought he might have been trying to do...
Well, he's gone back to the 59s. He's done a 59.9. He's still got 3 more laps to go.
These guys will be holding him up in that lap.
But Pajeski's got a chance to try and get right in behind and do some slipstream as Brad Lathrop gets onto the grass.
Just so much quicker, isn't it?
7.8 seconds, Matt Tubbs.
Oh!
Pajeski having a look round the outside. There's been a bit of drama right there, right now. He brings it back under, yields.
He got a pass going in, but he had to go too wide.
So this is a really good scrap. He's having a good look down Castrol. He'll try and get the flow now through the S's, back round towards the Brickyard, and then try and set them up as they charge back up through the field. Nick Ross, meanwhile, the Grove-Ross battle for second and third is still about a second between them. So here comes Matt. Justin will take that inside line and control it. Oh, a little bit of pressure.
Oh.
He's overcooked it into the GWD elbow and he's lost it. Racing in the rear view mirror, and Matt Pajeski says, thanks very much, buddy. And Ashwell. So he's got a mechanical situation there for Matt Tubbs. I think he's got issues. Yeah, they've had problems with that particular car.
Something you can see flapping in underneath it.
Yeah, something's given away. Brenton Grove, though, holding on to second. So the Class 2 battle's gone to Matt Pajeski, which is great because that's his goal, to try and win all of those races for the rest of the year. It's a bit of a psychological one, too, because he put the pressure on Justin, and Justin cracked. Driving in the old rear view mirror. He's not the first guy to suffer that, though. But it's going to be Jack Smith. Fantastic performance. Lathrop. Last lap board coming out now for Jack Smith. What sort of speed has he got? Is he going to wind it up again? No, sitting on 60 seconds, 0.3. Did do a 59 the previous lap, but quite content to bring it home. Bring home the bacon, as they say. Grove and Ross still going right down to the wire. Pajeski. Chelsea Herbert still maintaining fourth at the moment, 15 laps. She settled onto the pace of about a 101. Very consistent and doing a good job, so should be really pleased with that drive. Ross getting closer to second spot through the S's as they come out of Macaulay S's. Sweep around through into the hairpin. Is he close enough to have a crack going into the elbow? We'll try and put the pressure on and force the mistake, but it's all about this man. He's made no mistakes. The 19-year-old out of the Gold Coast from Australia, as Matt Tubbs continues to limp home. Checkered flag time. That's 4 in a row for Jack Smith, dominating the championship and doing a superb job. Brenton Grove, welcome back. He'll be really wrapped with that. Good second spot. Nick Ross coming home for third. Chelsea Herbert, good drive for fourth.
Well, for Tubbs to get a finish, he's got to go right round and do another lap, doesn't he? He was just in front of the checkered flag.
Can he get round, though? It's going to be a long time to come back round. Rest of the field charging back to finish their lap. And the B&T V8's going to be a good way for the team Barry, Lance Hughes' team. It'll be mixed results for them because one car did not finish, the other car was so far out in front there was daylight between him and the rest. So they've got one car. If they can get the other one back up to what the 85's doing, that'll be sweet.
It might be part of the splitter or something on Tubbs' car. You can see something just flapping up and down there. But he's obviously just trying to circulate to get the points. So he's got to come past the flag again.
And go all the way back around again. If he's smart, he just might cut across.
Yeah.
come across and then just bring him back around this way. Come the front way, the back way to the pits. Is he allowed to do that?
It's easy from up here.
So Jack Smith makes it a clean sweep from Highlands Motorsport Park and a great start to the weekend and sets a new lap record for the B&T V8s here, a 59.686, beating the previous mark held by Nick Ross, who is third behind Brenton Grove. Smith, Grove, Ross, and well done to Matt Pajerski, who takes the honours in Class 2.
Yep, he's made sure he got the checkered flag. So those points are obviously valuable, Clint.
And the experience and just the determination to finish the race. So stick around, that's the action with the B&T V8s. They'll be back out later on with the racing coming up tomorrow, but not too far away. We'll be on the track with the second race of the weekend for the Formula 1600s, and they were all over the place in the rain. They were the first to suffer the big crash coming out of the sweeper, and we'll see what how John Crawford's going. He may be too busy trying to rebuild all those cars to join us. I can understand that from Motorsport Solutions.
Yes, there's a
they'll be really enjoying the fact they're going to get a dry track now, aren't they?
Well, how different is that in 2 hours or 3 hours? Unbelievable.
Who says climate change? Hey?
Yeah, they didn't mean about it in one afternoon.
Well, that is Auckland weather. You know, it goes from hot, dry, windy and sunny now to hot, dry, windy and sunny down in Southland. So it's happening. So we're ready to rock and roll with the final race of the day for the fabulous Formula 1600 Championship. And John Crawford's got all the details about all the changes and all the drama since we had the first race in the rain at 2 o'clock. And go figure, John, look at that site. We're around the sweeper in the sunshine here at Teretonga on the same day.
Yeah, well, that's pretty typical down here in Southland, and it's great to be here. And I see Josh has just taken the lead from Spike and then Mickles. Now,
two of them have been on the grass coming out of there. That's not the way to do it. At least it's a dry track, so there's no drama.
No, it's going to be a great race, and it's just nice to see a nice dry one. But these guys have been beating themselves up a bit because they weren't sure what setups to put on, and their teams have been running around trying to fix cars and things like that. But it's good to see that they're out there just doing it. And young Spike and Zach were sort of a bit doom and gloom after the last one, but they've got their chins up now, and let's see how it all goes.
So let's talk about James Penrose, because they had the off and a bit of damage to their car. He's actually switched cars?
He has switched cars to Steve Heffernan's car. Had to start off the back. They will get that car fixed, but not for today. I think tomorrow we'll see that.
And Luke Kohlbecker, the American, he was also involved in the big sweeper incident in race 1, but he's back out there in his own car, number 50.
Yes, that's correct. That actually belongs to Josh's dad, that car. That's the one that Josh ran last year. Doing a good job in second there at the moment, and we'll do a wheel off that time. But I mean, these are all pretty current cars, and there was no damage to Luke's car other than it was just full of sand and rubbish. So boys did a good job down there at Motorsport Solutions to get it sorted.
So at the moment it's summer 32, Josh Berthune, he carries on his winning ways, a bit like Jack Smith. Really good form last week in Highlands. He's maintained that momentum. But of course Josh now was literally handed that result under the safety car in the first race. But here he is, dry conditions, good track, done a 108.8. And we'll see what the lead is as he crosses the start-finish line. 2 laps gone, 0.3 of a second. Luke Kohlbecker under pressure from Callum Crawley. And then Zach Stitchbury getting in on the action.
Yeah, well, I just see Jordan just gone through there. They're having quite a battle there, and if they're not careful, Josh is going to get away on them. And I think you'll find that there's going to be a bit of goings on in the 2, 3, and 4 situation there. So Callum's in 4th at the moment, and Zach's just a little bit further behind at the moment. So just trying to get on the case as Zach, and it's just been a bit hard for him. He hasn't done the mileage.
23, Jordan Mickles, for some reason, is just not coming up in the timing. But he is certainly second on the track. Down by the elbow.
Yeah, the racing's pretty close out there, and I mean it could be anybody's fight from here. So this is where the slipstreaming will come in a little bit, and Josh he did have a bit of a stretch on it, and Jordan's having a crack here. Of course, he's a local boy, so it'll be interesting to see how they get on down the end here.
And I think he's going to hold it on and go sliding into the sweep. Yeah. He's got that lead. Well done.
Yeah, no, that was a good move, that's for sure. So,
and this is what we've been waiting to see with the Formula 1600s, because we've got this dry track now. Yes, the wind is taking effect, but they've got a chance to do that drafting and to do that slipstreaming, which they are famous for.
Yeah, well, I mean, these cars are reasonably slippery in a straight line, and they do get a pretty good tow if the wind's in the right direction. So it'll be interesting to see how that all pans out.
And around the corner you get like a nice sort of a slide. It's like a power glide, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, they slide the cars around. They're always faster when they go good, and you'll just see the wind's picking up here from the west. So they'll be punching into the wind, and they'll get a really good slipstream with that.
So keep an eye on that. What's the lap record, Roger, around here? Because we just had one go in the previous race. And go figure, here we are. We're talking about perhaps, what would they have to do to get a lap record on this one?
102.189.
Yeah, that's a quick lap that we did long time ago now, when the tyres were a smidgen different. The compounds changed a little.
16th of the 1st, 2010.
Yeah, that's correct.
An old record, John.
Yeah, it's an old record, and the tyre compounds changed since then. So it's about half a second in that. So the guys are doing they're doing 4s at the moment. So
4s, 1.8, so
yeah,
2 seconds off lap record pace.
It's a bit off it at the moment, but
there's a different set of rubber.
Yeah, some of the setups won't be quite on the money because we've been tinkering around for the rain. So I just see that James has just been in the pits, so it's going to send him back down the grid. Won't pick too much points up for that.
And Roger, who actually holds that lap record?
Martin Short.
Martin Short, who's son of Jeff Short, our SpeedWorks promoter. And guess who he's working for now? He's a motor racing engineer, and he's now working with Shane van Gisbergen. So another great success story about how you can create a career for yourself with the motor racing here in New Zealand and going overseas, not just for driving, but also with working on the cars.
Well, that's the big thing. A lot of these guys have a good career going forwards with the driving side of it, but then eventually reality sets in, and quite often there's a career to be made with
making
with
money,
engineering.
But also working on your passion, still doing what you really love to do, and that's doing a form of motorsport.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's something that a lot of the guys further back down the field would probably aspire to as well, and a lot of them are just learning their craft by driving the car, so they know what these drivers later on in life are talking about. So,
righto, what's the lap record? 102 what?
102.189.
Okay, we've just done a 103.914. Jordan Mickles, number 23. He's just taken the lead from Josh Bethune, number 32. So he's done a 103.9, so they're at about a second off, so you never know.
And up against that pretty strong wind too.
Yeah, that wind has certainly picked up, so there's some quite good battles going on in 6, 7, 8, 9.
Back to the 104s. Yep. Good battles further back down the field, as you see, John.
Yes, no, those, I see Simon there and Grant Campbell having a bit of a battle. And there's another young fella there, Cameron Freeman. He's a guy from Dunedin, and that's just a father and son deal, and they're actually going really well.
So don't forget, it's 8 laps. Keep an eye on the 2 leaders because the slipstreaming and the drafting is about to come into effect. Josh Bethune, you get the feeling he's just going to start positioning himself as some of the other guys go down around the sweeper, further back down the field. And how's Noel Atley going? He's in car number 14 in the top 8 at the moment, doing 107s.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, it's just great to see 22 cars on the grid. And I think that's probably the biggest field here today. And these cars are certainly the proving ground for all the other classes. So
it looks like it's going to be
here's Josh.
Right
Josh
down
just
to the wire.
Josh going to start to make a move here by the looks of it.
Last lap. Here goes the slipstream. Pulls out of the draft. Going to hang it.
Is he going to make it?
No.
No, I think the better part of Valor might be a good thing there.
The local man Jordan.
Yep.
Keeps us cool under the pressure, sweeps around the corner to maintain that lead.
Now the big thing that's starting to happen here, of course, is Josh is starting to realise that he's got to make these finishes stick, because he's looking in a pretty good place championship-wise, and if he was to throw it away, trying to make some crazy move, then he could throw the championship away today and never get it back. So he's being a bit wise. I mean, he's obviously pushing on really hard, but I think he's probably decided that that'll do him for today.
Yeah, second place would be good and a win. Well, first and second at the top end, the pointy end of the field.
Yep, no, it's nothing wrong with that. So
one last chance to dance. He might get a bit of a tweak out of the GWD elbow and try and have a flying finish down to the checkered flag. But I think
I don't think he'll get that one. But
Jordan Michaels has got it done. Yes, raises the fist, wins at home in front of the local fans. Great stuff. Jordan Mickles, 23 from Invercargill.
Yeah, Spike come in third there. He's dropped back off them. So the times he was doing was
103.8, both of them the last lap. So you never know tomorrow.
And 4.5 for Colbecker, Callum Crawley 4.8, Stitchbury 5.5. Jack did a 4.9, was very good for him. And Kyle in the 6s. Noel Atley in the 6s, and Simon.
Not often you see that. 23 is first and 32 second. Just switch the numbers around. Second. There you go.
No, good result all round, and
everything adds up to 5, and it's a high 5 for those two, aren't they? Because they deserve it. Good racing.
Yeah, no, it's good, and no damage, which is great to see. So
what was that?
No damage.
So I heard you the first time. I just wanted you to say it again. You know.
No damage. No damage. Your hand's dirty today.
you could go back and just clean their hands now.
Yeah, exactly.
Well done, boys.
Yeah.
Exactly what we want to see.
Yeah, no, they've all done a great job, and
pleased for Colbeck.
Yeah, no, good podium.
What did he
good
say
podium.
Coming out of the sweeper?
He was pretty quiet about it, to be fair. But I mean, it was the video showed it. He had it on his video, so it was. I mean, we call it a racing incident. I don't think it was anybody's fault. And when you look at it, James just lost his car and touched him. Yeah. I mean, probably only by 2 inches was all it was in it. You know, they were so close. And I mean, there's no animosity there. It was a racing incident.
It's funny. We were doing the voiceover for the B&T V8s on Thursday with DT, which is going to be playing tomorrow afternoon on CRC Motorsport. And Andrew Anderson has been racing in the NZ Central Muscle Cars. And I said, how'd you go with the Bathurst, Legends of Bathurst, you know, up at Hampton Downs last week? And he said, I was going really great till I lost it around the double bastard. And I just lost it around that back part of the long circuit and ran foggy off the road. And he said, oh, you know, I felt really bummed out about it. But it was just one of those things, the car just sort of gave away on him, you know.
Yeah, well,
it could happen.
In the wet weather in particular. And, I mean, James was doing the best he could do. He was in there, and Spike was around the outside. There was nowhere for him to move, and you know, I mean, good on Spike for having a crack at it. And I mean, he's a talented boy, and they're all pushing on, you know.
But good to get him back onto the podium for that third race. So well done to Jordan Mickles. Great race, great win, and well done to Josh Berthune for taking control of the points in the championship. And Luke Colbecker all the way from the USA in third spot, followed by Crawley, Stitchbury, Noble, Adams, Girton, Atley, Campbell, Freeman, Spencer Bauer, the old the 70-year-old.
Yeah, 11th today.
But fourth in the raid.
Fantastic. Yeah, fantastic result. Oh, yeah, over the moon. Yeah, just over the moon. So just working through it all now, and see how we go tomorrow.
All right. Well, thanks very much, John Crawford. Cheers, John. From the team at Motorsport Solutions. Our final motorsport solution for the afternoon will be the SpeedWorks Rush Hour. We'll see who's going to be lining up on the grid and how many cars we have, and we'll get set for that in just a moment in the sunshine here. Terrific day it has turned out to be with the SpeedWorks Motorsport Championship and the Castrol Toyota Racing Series. just a word of warning at the moment. That wind has really got up, gale force at the moment, around about 30 knots. So some of the tents are just holding on from actually taking off and ending up in Dunedin at the moment. And also one of the marquees down along pit lane, down the backside of the pits, is just basically blown over. So they have to try and get that secured before we get into the SpeedWorks rush hour. So that wind has really got a bit of power in that there at the moment. So that's why there's a slight delay before we go racing again.